Thank you all for joining. I really appreciate it. We'll go ahead and start this webinar. We're going to talk to you today about the Tribal Colleges Research Grant Program. My name is Erin Riley. I'm the National Program Leader for this program and a few other programs within the Division of Community and Education at NIFA. Today we have Praley Chitnis, who is a program specialist. Praley, would you like to say hello?
Hi everyone, my name is Praley Chitnis and I am a program specialist in the Division of Community and Education here at NIFA. And I work on the Tribal College Research Grant Program as well as Tribal College Equity and the New Beginning for Tribal Students program. Thanks everyone for joining.
We're also joined by an interpreter as well as someone who is taking captions. So the Tribal College Research Grant Program is being conducted a little differently this year. So instead of having a 2 or 3 month window that it's open, we are having this program open all year round. And we are bringing in applications in phases. So we're actually paneling 3 times throughout the year. Phase 1 has closed. That closed on July 20th. Phase 2 is going to close October 1st. So any proposals that are submitted between now and October 1st, or actually after July 20th and October 1st, will be pulled in and paneled during that phase. And then after October 1st, any proposals that are submitted between then and December 31st will be paneled after December 31st during the phase 3 paneling. So we're going to talk about the different projects, the different program types today, and give a few examples about this program, and then we'll have time for questions at the end. So I wanted to give a quick example of a Tribal College research project, one that they are doing at Stonechild College. Is the Intertribal College Consortium in Northeast Montana, and it's strengthening collaborations across communities to address regional impacts of climate change through traditional ecological knowledge. One of the grant types that we're going to discuss today are conference grants. These particular projects can go up to $150,000, the proposals, and it's really to bring in tribal colleges to help build their research capacity or potentially do other sorts of information sharing between the different faculty at the tribal colleges and beyond. So go next slide. So again, we're going to talk about the request for applications. We're going to outline important pieces of the request for applications, and then we're going to answer any questions that stakeholders may have at the end. So the request for applications is out. You can find it on the NIFA website. If you just Google TCRGP NIFA, it will pop up. And the deadlines, as I said before, the first phase 1 deadline has passed. That was July 20th. Phase 2 deadline, that's coming up, is going to be October 1st. Phase 3 deadline will be December 31st. So it is an open submission. You can submit anytime between now and December 31st. It's just if you apply before October 1st, your proposal will be pulled in and we will be paneling it. During that panel, it'll probably be mid-November. The total funding that we have for 2024 is going to be $7.5 million. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this because Congress appropriates $5 million for this program. However, we had some money left over that we're using, so that's why it's a little higher this year. So we're taking money that is from projects that maybe sent their money back, they couldn't finish, they didn't spend all of their money, and we are using it to help fund some other projects in 2024. The grant duration for the Tribal College Research Grant is 24 to 60 months. And the program code that you're going to be using is ZY The maximum amount of the awards, and we'll explain this further in this technical assistance webinar, is 2.5 million. And that's for a particular grant type that you're going to, if you are interested in applying for. So that's the largest amount that this particular award can fund. So the purpose and priorities of the Tribal College Research Grant Program is to develop leadership skills among students. We would like to prepare students to be globally competitive. These funds can be used for international travel. So if you wanted to do some international exchanges with students, it can fund your students to travel abroad. And it can also, the conference grants could fund a conference in another country, which other international participants could attend. It cannot be funded, it cannot fund international people, so people who are not US citizens, to travel, but it could fund a conference that international folks, if they were local, could come to. We also are very interested in funding traditional ecological knowledge, research, education, and extension projects. So if you do have education and extension, there needs to be a research component as well. So let's talk about the different project types that the Tribal College Research Grant Program has. So this year it's changed a little bit, and we have the big $2.5 million award, and we're planning on making one for a research capacity center. So one of the things to note is that the Research Capacity Center program will only be paneled in phase 3. Okay, so we're not going to be making any awards until actually it will end up being in 2025, but it'll be funded out of 2024 funds. So again, if you are going to apply for a 1994 Research Capacity Center, it will not be paneled until after phase 3. You can submit it anytime beforehand. We're just not going to panel it until the very last phase. So that Research Capacity Center can fund up to 2.5 million. There is an area of expertise, which is 650,000. A new discovery project type, which is 350,000. We have the applied faculty and community program, which is 150,000. And then there is conference grants, which are 150,000. So we're going to go into detail about each one of these project types, but please note the one thing that I want you to really understand is that 1994 Research Capacity Center will not be paneled until phase 3. So that will be after the December 31st deadline. So probably in February, the awards will be made of 2025. Next slide. So collaborative grants, and that's what this is a collaborative grant. And I'll explain why in a second, but they support projects with at least one additional partner or a multi-partner approach to enhance research programs. This Tribal College Research Grant Program is a collaborative grant by legislation. So the 1994 has to partner with an 1862 land grant, an 1890, a non-land grant College of Agriculture, the Agriculture Research Service, or McIntyre Stennis School of Forestry. So these are the partnerships, and it is mandatory that they apply with one of them. 70% of the budget needs to stay within the tribal college, however. So you don't have to share funding with these partners. However, you are required by legislation to collaborate with one of these, and they are listed in the RFA. Next slide. So these are the schools that are eligible for this program. There are 35 tribal colleges or 1994s, as USDA NIFA calls them. They are listed in the Farm Bill. So if you are one of these schools, you can be the lead on that particular project. If you are a 1862 and you have a partnership with one of these schools, it's worth having a phone call with them if you're interested in applying and if you're currently working on a research project with them and seeing if they would like to take the lead and come in. However, remember, 70% of those funds need to stay with the 1994. There is no matching or cost sharing required in the Tribal College Research Grant Program. And again, here are the requirements for collaboration. An 1862 or an 1890 land-grant institution, the Agriculture Research Service, a non-land-grant College of Agriculture, or a McIntyre-Stennis Cooperative Forestry School. We have two 1994s that are McIntyre-Stennis schools, Leech Lake Tribal College and Saley's Kootenai College. So you could, as a 1994, partner with that, and that would satisfy that collaboration requirement if you partnered with one of these two schools' forestry programs. So let's just quickly talk about the application. You're going to have a project summary, a project narrative, which is going to be most where the written program is written up. There is a page limit on this. You will need to provide information about the key personnel. Why is that person the right person for this program? One of the things that I want to say when you write the application, panelists that we have are not supposed to bring in outside knowledge into the panel. So make sure you are explaining why that person is so important to this project. Okay, so even if a panelist has been working with one of the schools that applied, they're not supposed to bring that outside knowledge. Whatever's written in that proposal and in that application needs to be very descriptive with as much information as they can. So when you write this application, really think that you need to be very descriptive so that when someone's reading it, they understand why you're the best person for the job, or they understand why your college really needs this opportunity. We're going to need the R&R personal data, an R&R budget. You also are required to have a data management plan. If you are not collecting data, you need a statement saying we are not collecting data, okay? So the data management plan is an important piece of the RFA. Keep that in mind. If you have data that is sovereign data or culturally sensitive data, you do not need to write it in there. You can put in there that you are within the college holding on to data and there is a certain way in that you are managing it. And part of this is also to help build infrastructure within the colleges and universities that are funded with federal funding. So we also need supplemental information forms. So this is a felony conviction and tax delinquent form. And we also need a mentoring plan. You can put those in the other section. There's going to be a section when you go to submit your application, and you can, some of these documentations that's not in the project narrative, because the project narrative has a page limit, you can add in other. So keep that in mind. Next slide. So again, the data management plan is required for this programs. Applicants should clearly articulate how the project director and the co-PD plans to manage and disseminate the data generated by the project. The data management plan will be considered during the merit review process. So there's in the request for applications, there's an example of a good data management plan for you all to look at and think about as you apply to this particular program. Next slide. We also would like a mentoring plan, and you can attach this as well. And this should incorporate the roles and responsibilities of the project director and co-PD and how they're mentoring students, training for and credentials of individuals who will serve as mentors. And mentors may be experienced monitors from academia, industry, government. We also would like a description of mentoring activities. Okay, and then a description of the process to ensure reasonable accommodations for program participants with disabilities or challenges with accessing programmatic activities. The indirect cost rate for this program is 30% of the total federal funds awarded. So what that means is when you collaborate, let's say you are collaborating with a college of 1862 as well as the 1994, the total amount of that award cannot exceed 30%, okay, for your indirect costs. So that includes whoever the collaborator is, as well as your indirect costs. So keep that in mind. And then, as I said before, 70% of the budget needs to stay at the 1994 institution. So when you do a subaward, no more than 30% can go to that other institution. Next slide. When we work with our panelists, we give them the evaluation criteria that is listed in the request for applications. And we have them work through this and really look at these particular applications and how they fall within these 5 categories. So the potential for advancing the quality of research at the 1994. So how is that research project really going to enhance the research that's done at that 1994, or maybe a group of 1994s that are working together? What are the proposed approaches and cooperative linkages that are going on? So what they're talking about here is when you are working with an 1862, do you have a relationship that's already set? Is it one that is going to be successful? Is it one that's going to continue on? Or is it sort of, usually panelists can pick up if it's a one-off, just somebody you met and they want to apply to the program. So really keep that in mind, because we would like to build linkages within these different collaborations. What are the institutional capability and capacity building? This is how I discussed before. Be very clear on where your college is at the time and how capable are they of carrying out the research activities, as well as how will this program help build the capacity of that 1994? What is the key personnel and their expertise, as well as the budget and cost effectiveness? So really think about these as you write your project narrative, because this is what the panelists are going to have to evaluate your proposal. Think about the problem when you're doing your research. Why is there a need for this study? Okay, is there something that the tribe would like to figure out? Is there a problem that you're trying to solve? If you solve this problem, who and what will benefit? Okay, this goes into that dissemination. When you find the results, how are you going to disseminate those results? So if you're solving a problem that the tribe has, how are you going to bring that back to that community? Does the tribe know or want this study to take place? Okay, so do you need an institutional research board approval? Okay, so think about that and who will be the one to provide it. Now, and not all 1994s have an IRB. You can use the IRB from an 1862 that you're partnering with. You can use the tribal IRB. You actually can use Indian Health Services IRB, which if you have that connection. So keep that in mind. And we have done some negotiations with folks to try to figure out how to get that accomplished. If you're dealing with animals, live animals, you also need an IACUC. So will you be collecting sensitive data to the tribe? How are you going to store that data and make sure it doesn't get released to people that the tribe doesn't want it to get released to if it's sensitive information? Next slide. One of the big things I'm going to say when you submit the research project is make sure that if it's a hypothesis, a project where you're going to have a hypothesis, or maybe you have some observations, really state that very clearly. Predict the relationship and the outcome. Okay. Simple, be very simple and concise with your hypotheses. Be clear. Don't be ambiguous. Okay. Don't let the reader have to assume. Is this testable or is it an observable result? Is it relevant and specific to the research question or the problem? And then what are your outcomes? Did you accept or reject the hypothesis? Were the outcomes as you predicted? Why or why not? What will you do with that information? How will this help the tribe? Are you going to publish this data, and where? And how will the publication help the tribe in the 1994? So I want to give you an example of a tribal college research project. This is actually not a picture from that particular project. This is a picture from the Rio Grande, but the project title was Assessing Temperature Trends and Critical Habitat for Sacred Species in the Lance Indian Reservation and Ceded Territories. So this project was funded to Kenowa Bay, Ojibwa Community College. And one of the things that I really liked about this project was that it was very community-based, okay? So Kenowa Bay has a vested economic and cultural interest in the water quality and the fisheries within their community. The tribe owns and operates a cold water fish hatchery that stocks numerous species of fish, and it provides critical sustenance for community members. So these students that worked on this research project worked for the Department of Natural Resources. So there was a direct linkage to their community. And they took the data that they used from this project, and it was a direct involvement to management plans that they were doing with these fish on Kenowa Bay Ojibwa Community College. So I am going to go back because I feel like I want to go back. Praley, could you go back to the slide in the very beginning with the project types? And I want to go over these project types in a better, more detailed what we're looking for. So the 1994 Research Capacity Center needs to have at least 3 tribal colleges working together to build infrastructure within 1994s that can be really modeled for other 1994s. So examples of this could be having postdocs put at the 1994 to help with teaching, maybe to help with research. So really being creative in this. All of these research programs really would like for the college and university to give faculty release time if they have heavy teaching loads. So that is in the RFA. If you are planning on applying and you're struggling trying to get time to do it, please know that is written in the RFA. You need to have time to do this research project. But the Research Capacity Center, we're really looking for a larger set of tribal colleges to really build out their programs. Area of expertise are projects for the 650,000, and you need to have research in an area from previously funded projects from NIFA, National Science Foundation, maybe it could be NOAA. So, but there needs to already be a project that has been worked on, that the research is already kind of laid out, and it could be a project that ended 2 or 3 years ago. That's okay. But no, it needs to be something that has really already started, and your school is going to be highlighted as this is where we want to go for buffalo research. This is where we want to go for dragonfly research. So really keep that in mind. Or bats. The new discovery is a $350,000 award. That's a new project. And then you have applied faculty and communities. So let's say you're a new faculty member and you want to do a smaller project with the community, but you don't want it to be, you know, a full-on research project, you can apply for an applied faculty community at 150,000. Also, a conference grant. Again, I think I talked about this before. If you want to get a group of 1994s together to talk about a certain food sovereignty issue, this is what the conference grants are for. So with that, I think we're going to go and take some questions. If anybody has questions about this particular program, we are happy to answer any of your questions that you have now. You can either type them in the chat or raise your hand, and we can get you so that you're off mute. Do we have any questions from people? Everybody's, I see one. So Amit has a question. I'm going to allow you to talk. Go ahead, Amit.
Okay. So do we need to submit iCook while submitting the grant, or we can submit our iCook once the result get published and if we get selected?
Yeah, if you get selected, we are going to come back with you for you to get an iCook. So if you want to submit before you get the iCook signed, that's fine. Okay, so even if we don't have iCook right now, but it's, if we select pending and then based on result, okay. Yeah, so make sure, and if that's the case, what you do want to do is make sure you address that when you submit the proposal so that the panelists know that it is pending. Does that make sense? You just want to make sure that you don't get dinged from panelists because they're like, oh, they're doing human research, they don't, or they're doing animal research, they don't have an iCook. So just make sure that it's written out clearly in the proposal. Good question. Thank you. Are there other questions? You can raise your hand and we'll take you off mute. Hi, Courtney. I'm going to allow you to talk, and then if you just unmute. There we go.
Hi. Yeah, so along the same lines of the iCook, so you have something that you think is going to qualify as human subjects research in these proposals. We have a working relation with an IRB, but we wouldn't really pursue anything until we were ready for that. So in the proposal, you talk about your relationship and the steps you would take to get the study approved by your IRB in your proposal?
Yes. So just make sure the panel knows that you are aware that you need IRB approval and that, or IACUC approval, and that you, before, you know, if this is selected for funding, that will be in place. So, and, you know, we are working harder at NIFA to make sure everybody's compliant with IRB and IACUC. So that's one of the reasons that we put this in the request for applications this year is to really help build throughout all the 35 1994s more of that IRB IACUC component to what's going on. But yeah, just make sure you address it so that you don't get dinged.
And then as part of that too, or not part of that, sorry, but just a follow-up question then about you were talking about the panel phases, you know, so anything up till October 1st, a panel will look at it in November, and then the next date I think is December what?
31st.
Yeah. Okay. So do you think that there'll be chances? So if we put a proposal in and there's feedback that no, this proposal needs work, do you think that we will have a chance to see those comments to revamp a proposal to submit by that December deadline?
So how it's going to operate, these are really good questions, Courtney, and we're trying to, if you submit prior, so this is how we're hoping this works. So if there is money from phase 1 left over, it'll move into phase 2, and then we'll panel the proposals. And if you are ranked as fundable, you will move, but let's say we run out of funding, right? But you are ranked medium or above, but we run out of funding, you will automatically move into phase 3. Now, if you are ranked low, and we have the same panelists throughout the year doing this program, but if you are ranked low, then we will reject it. So then, yes, you would have time to resubmit.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so that would be the only way, is if you are ranked in the low category.
Otherwise, we're just moved over.
Otherwise, you're moved over. That's right.
Okay. And do we have, okay, so then, you know, is there any chance that there'll be any feedback to us as we move into phase 3, or we're just thrown into the phase 3 pot?
Well, we have, we've never done this. So
Yeah.
These are great questions, and this is sort of what we're trying to work out. I don't know right now. I need to think that question through.
Okay.
I mean, I think we can give you feedback. We can tell you verbally that you're going to move into phase 3. And we could talk to you. Let me think that over, and can I get back to you in an email or a phone call?
Yep, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good question. I have to think through it and make sure that we are being fair to everybody. So I need, before I answer, I want to think through it a little bit more thoroughly, and then I'll get the answer to you.
Thank you.
Good questions. Great questions. Are there more questions?
Yeah, maybe for following to her. So if you could figure out that one, I would love to hear that answer as well.
Okay, yeah, we can get that back to you, so the question is, and let me just make sure, because I'm gonna just make sure I take it into some people at NIFA that do these rolling programs, is whether you can get feedback if you don't get funded during phase 2, and then see about phase 3. So I will get that to both of you, Amit and Courtney, that particular.
So even if it's like a medium priority, if the project gets like a medium priority, it will go to the 3rd phase, or we'll get the feedback on that one.
I mean, I could talk to you about it.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, but it will go to the 3rd, because we can fund a medium priority. It'll go to the 3rd round. Okay. And so, like I said, we're going to be keeping a running. If you've ever done panels with us, we've got like a slide, and then you have your columns of outstanding, high, medium, low.
Okay.
So we make sure every single panel we rank them. So we're using the same panelists. So they're going to be ranking them as we go, and we're going to have the same sheet. It's just over a year. Okay. If that makes sense.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there more questions? These are great questions. Go ahead, Courtney. Do you still have a question, or is that a legacy hand?
Legacy hand. Can you help me take it down?
Yeah, it came down. Good.
Thank you.
Are there other questions? I'm really grateful that all of you joined. Please apply. Please apply to the program. It's a great program. If there are no more questions, and I'm gonna get back to you, Amit and Courtney, with some better answers, how that's gonna roll out. I just want to make sure I have the correct answer before I say. With that, I'm going to give one more chance for questions. Okay, well, I want to give a big thank you to our interpreter and our closed captions, our accommodation folks, and Praley Chitness for hopping on. Poor thing, had the flu this week, and she got on the call today. I want her to go and take a nap. So thank you all. I hope to see all of you at Falcon in October in Minneapolis. And I hope to see a proposal from each one of you for this program because it's a great program. Please reach out if you have any questions for myself, Praley, or anybody, and we look forward to seeing your proposals. Have a wonderful, wonderful, what is it, Wednesday? Wednesday, I think. Great. Okay, bye everybody.